All right, folks, I thought I'd take a little second here to show you some things that are going to be in the sales lab that you're going to do. And I brought my little selfie tripod thing, but I forgot the camera mount, so I'm just putting you on the table here. So let me pan this down a little bit so you can see maybe more of the table. So one of the things you have to be careful of is you're going to get this little container of methylene blue, and you're going to get this container of potassium permanganate. That's how you say that word. I don't have my little spatula spoon that you have in the kit, so I'm just going to show you using something like this. And so what you're going to end up doing with these is you're going to put a little scoop of each of these into your Petri dish that you have poured your agar in. Right, so you're going to pour the agar, and you're going to make, I'll just use a highlighter here. Right, you're going to draw a line. Right, you probably can't see that, but you're going to draw a line down the center of the plate to denote one side from the other. And then you're going to pour the agar in the plate. And then what you're going to do is you're going to end up taking a small amount of this potassium permanganate out and putting it on one side of the dish, and then another small amount of the methylene blue. And so what I wanted to do is just pull a little bit out of these and to show you what you can expect. You need to be really, really careful with this. Methylene blue and potassium permanganate, they're both dyes, and they do a great job of dyeing things. And so let me see if I can lower myself down here a little bit. So if you get a little bit of this on you, or if you get a little bit on your carpet, it's gonna be there for a long, long time. So you don't want to do that. So using your little spatula, just kind of go down in, of course the camera moved, pick some up, right, like this, and then very gently go down into your plate, and then just tip the spatula over, right, and it'll probably want to stick a little bit, and just dump it square off. If you end up with a little bit stuck on your spatula like I have here, then the best thing to do is to just go back into the container and tap it off in there. Don't try to tap it off into the container, or you're going to end up with a mess. And then don't touch your spoon back down to the table. Maybe hang it off the edge or whatever. Don't get it on your clothes, anything like that. Otherwise, it's just going to be there for a good while, right? Same thing with potassium permanganate. Usually potassium permanganate is a little more crystalline, so I'm going to use the other side of my spatula here to show you. And what I mean by it's a little more crystalline is it looks, you can't see it here, but it looks more granular. It comes off the spatula. Maybe I can show you that. Right, so maybe you can see here, it comes off the spatula a lot more easily than the methylene blue does. Right? And so you just have to be super careful with those. Otherwise, you're going to have a mess in your kitchen or wherever in a hurry. So just be really careful with those two things. The other thing I wanted to point out, and so with that experiment, with the potassium permanganate experiment and the methylene blue, really what you're doing is you're going to put it in the agar and it's going to diffuse out, and you're going to measure the distance that it diffuses over a given time period. The other thing you're doing, and a common email I get from students is they say they don't have their dialysis tubing, and I think it's because in the handout or in the PDF it looks different than it actually does in real life. That is dialysis tubing, right? And it doesn't look like a tube at all right now. It looks like just cellophane. But what will happen is as you wet the dialysis tubing, you're going to be able to open it up, and actually it does become a tube, right? So that is the dialysis tubing. The way you're going to use it is you're going to fill it up, you're going to create an artificial cell out of it. You're going to end up using this graduated cylinder, so you'll fill the cylinder up to a given volume, and then you'll drop the dialysis tubing in to see how much water it displaces. And then as you run the experiment, the amount of water that the dialysis tubing displaces will change, and so you'll look at the differences there, and so that's how you'll end up using that. right? But again, the main reason I created this video is be careful with that potassium permanganate and be careful with that methylene blue. It will make a mess, a huge mess. If it happens that you spill it a little bit on your agar plate, don't worry too much about it. The point is just to see the diffusion and the rates of diffusion and how they're different between the two. That's the point. To be able to do it perfectly every time for every student, that's hoping for a lot there, really. And so just be careful. That's the point. Be very careful.